For more local news, like News Channel 11 on Facebook. Celebrating the Tri-Cities for 70 years.
News Channel 11 has been celebrating 70 years all year long.
We're having a lot of fun doing it, too. Each month, we've taken our newscast on the road, showing you the people and places that make our region such a great place to live.
Yeah, now we're revisiting some of the things that makes each place in our region so special as our 70th year comes to a close. Thanks for joining us for celebrating the Tri-Cities for 70 years. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Casey Martha. The last 7 decades been filled with amazing stories and amazing people here at WJHL. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel gives us a look back at our station history as we celebrate 70 years on air.
It was going to work. I never felt I was going to give up on it.
Haynes Lancaster Jr. had a goal of starting the first television station in the Tri-Cities, but it almost didn't happen. October 17th, 1953, just days before the planned sign-on, the WJHL tower on Tannery Knobs collapsed onto the studio. Haynes Lancaster Sr. and several employees were inside.
Dad was in the station on Tannery when it fell, and when that thing started down, they dove in behind some stacked stuff in there and didn't get hurt at all.
But their determination and their strong-willed staff got the station on the air for the very first time on October 26, 1953. Back then, all programming, including news and variety shows, were done in the Johnson City studio.
We could start with early morning. We had a show like called First Call with Ed McKinney, and it would be news, views, and interviews. Then we went on to 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'd have programs designed for young children or preschoolers. We had a show called Mrs. Winkadink, the old lady who lived in a shoe, and she would read stories to children. We had a program in the afternoon. We would run Gunsmoke, and then at different segments within the program, we would have a live cowboy come on.
In 1965, WJHL started broadcasting in color. Then, in 1968, the Lancasters sold WJHL-TV to Park Broadcasting. Haynes Jr. stayed on as general manager and brokered 2 critical deals to move WJHL into the modern era of broadcasting. The first in 1970, putting a transmitter tower on top of Holston Mountain, a 22-year-old request to the FCC finally granted.
Well, we reached, like I said, 5 states. There was Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, West Virginia, and Kentucky. And if we didn't move to that Holston Mountain, we wouldn't have reached all those people. And when the more people you reach, the more valuable is your advertising.
The news team becoming household names. After all, they were in their living rooms every night. Most in the early days grew up in the Tri-Cities, and some, like legendary WJHL newscaster Bob Lewis, stayed for the rest of their lives. Bob came to WJHL in 1967. He retired 40 years later as family to his viewers.
When WJHL first took on the challenge of bringing daily news updates into your living room, they did so in a much different way than we meet that challenge today.
WJHL was outgrowing its space. In 1976, the station then moved to the post office building downtown.
Beckley 65 degrees, Jackson 69.
Some of those faces added to the team.
The Tennessee Volunteers were still the underdogs going into the Fiesta Bowl.
Staying for decades, informing the Tri-Cities.
Boogie woogie, piggy wiggy.
And keeping them entertained.
It is time you're going to flip that switch and take us into the digital era.
Technology continued to change throughout the years. In 2009, WJHL moved from analog to digital programming.
Good evening, I'm Ann Carter. Welcome to ABC Tri-Cities.
News Channel 11 also adding a sister station, ABC Tri-Cities, on February 1st of 2016. WJHL also added more bureaus. In October of 2017, News Channel 11 opened up a spot in the Model City. Then in January of 2019, a spot in Greenville. While the news has evolved over the years, the looks of it changed too. News Channel 11 debuted a new studio in September of 2019. 2 years later,
Welcome into First at 4.
a new newscast. While there is a lot of change, new faces, different ways to get news, weather, and sports, the heart of what the people at News Channel 11 do hasn't changed, telling the stories that impact you.
I'm delighted to see it there, and I just hope that it keep the thing in good shape.
Ansley Daniel there with a look back. We started our year-long celebration in the city of Elizabethton. Throughout the year, several of the city's most popular events happen at Covered Bridge Park. There you'll find the Covered Bridge, which has been around for the last 140 years. It's actually one of 4 existing covered bridges in the state of Tennessee. I was able to learn a little bit more about the Covered Bridge in Elizabethton's story. The Doe River runs under the Elizabethton Covered Bridge like it has since its construction in the late 1800s.
They were covered to protect the bridge, not the people. You know, the wooden bridge wouldn't last very long without the covering. This one's great.
Joseph Penza is the city archivist collecting information on the history of the Elizabethton Covered Bridge.
I'm continually finding new things with the covered bridge on it. There is no end to the type of memorabilia and historic materials that I find with the covered bridge. Sometimes it's logos for a company that's not here anymore. Sometimes it's, you know, stationery that, you know, a church put out for a, you know, fundraiser or something. I'll tell you.
The bridge is also a testament to the toughness of Elizabethton, surviving natural disasters in the early part of the 20th century.
So the 1901 flood almost knocked the bridge down, and then the 1940 flood was equally as bad, and it survived both floods. And I think the symbol of strength that it's become, because it survived these natural disasters, survived the test of time, just endears it more to the community.
The connection is even more evident today. Covered Bridge Park has evolved into a gathering place for thousands of people, hosting many events throughout the year.
The Covered Bridge itself is special. We tried to incorporate a lot of our activities and programming here for the park, and again, we're here to serve our citizens first, but we also, this is such a great feature that's a natural draw to our area.
As the popularity grows, so does the need for upgrades. A recent $1.25 million grant will be used over the next 2 to 3 years to improve the park for even more events.
Right now, we're in the engineering phase of it. We're getting that good plan together, and we can't wait to get that done one day and have even more people come to our Covered Bridge Park.
Ensuring the stoic Covered Bridge will remain a fixture for Elizabethton and the entire region, like it has for the last 140 years.
It's such a versatile symbol for the city, and I hope it continues to be that for a long time, because besides the Soldiers Monument, I really can't think of a better symbol for the community.
Casey, thanks. All year long, people from across the Tri-Cities wait for the return of the Unicoi Apple Festival. It's a tradition in the Irwin community spanning 40 years and bringing in more than 100,000 people to the area each year. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel takes a look at how the festival started and where it is now.
Fried pies, craft vendors, organizations, and a lot of apples fill downtown Irwin the first weekend of October each year.
It is more than just a festival.
The annual Unicoi County Apple Festival brings about 400 vendors and more than 110,000 people to Main Avenue.
It's a great opportunity for us to show off our community, allow our vendors to come out and sell their wares. It's a great fundraising opportunity for a lot of community organizations, and it's also a homecoming.
It all started back in 1978 with old Joe Clark, a fiddle player with roots in Irwin who went on to play at the Grand Ole Opry.
First year it was a one-day event, Old Joe Clark Day. Had about 8 vendors set up around the courthouse square, a small stage.
Old Joe Clark wasn't able to come for the second year, but the festival grew to 20 vendors.
Third year came around and they called it Apple Days, 2-day event. Continued to grow, and then in year 4 it became Apple Festival.
The festival continues to grow with more people, entertainment, food, and craft vendors each year.
I sold out completely the first day. The opportunity is there to make some good money.
Sandy Lingerfeld is the former Apple Festival board chair. Now she sells her own crafts.
You better make sure you have plenty of stock, because the sales are going to be really good.
Vendors come from all over the nation, oftentimes several years in a row.
There's a great variety of vendors. They have some booths that are set up for kids, of course, but there's also a lot of handmade items such as wreaths and flower arrangements, a lot of handmade jewelry.
The festival also serves as a fundraising opportunity for organizations and brings a boost to the county's economy.
Dollars come into the community by way of sales tax, lodging tax, accommodation tax. Each year we see a huge spike in sales tax for the month of October as a result of the festival.
In Irwin, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
The town of Rogersville filled with history.
Oh yeah, one historic building is about to hit a major milestone. The historic Hale Springs Inn has been around for almost 200 years. The inn was built in 1824 and has hosted thousands of guests, including a few presidents.
News Channel 11's Kelly Grossfield gives us a look into the inn's history.
November 23rd, 1916, just one page of a guest book dating back over 105 years, greeting you as you enter the historic Hale Springs Inn. But the inn is much older than that. Built in the early 19th century, the history of these halls leaves you in a state of awe, and at one time marking a milestone almost unheard of.
Until 1999, the Hale Springs Inn was the oldest continuously operating inn in Tennessee. The problem is once it closed, it lost that distinction. Now it's just an old inn.
While closures and renovations throughout the years took away the longest running title, it doesn't take away from the history. Did you know at this inn, you could share the same rooms as a few former presidents?
We've had 3 presidents stay here. We've had Andrew Jackson, Andrew Johnson, and Polk.
General manager of the inn, Joe Anderson, says history lives in every crack and crevice of the building.
The floors in the dining room are the original 1824 floors, so you're just like walking on history every day. We have different various historic things, around the inn.
With 9 rooms all restored to give that authentic 19th century feel, it really does seem like you're stepping back in time. And to the people of Rogersville, it's more than just an old building.
We have other buildings that are on Main Street that are old as well, that, were built in the 1800s. But this is where people came through, where the presidents came through, where, it has the majority of the history of the town in it.
And there have been a number of state officials who have come here and said this is this is the crown jewel of small town historic preserved architecture.
The inn remains busy, according to Anderson, and she says plans are in the works to have a huge 200th anniversary celebration next year. But for others in the town, they hope to celebrate the inn sticking around even longer than that.
It's critical to Rogersville. It's the linchpin of tourism.
Coming up, motorcyclists from across the nation head to Mountain City for the ride of a lifetime. We'll tell you about the treacherous ride known as the Snake later on.
And the food scene in Abingdon, Virginia is all the rage. We'll take a look at some of the iconic restaurants in the area next. We'll be right back.
Explosive talent, rich tradition. That's the Arby's Classic. Join us this week every night at 6 p.m. for all the latest coverage from the tournament.
Stay up to date as all your favorite local high school boys basketball teams battle it out.
Brought to you by Empire Ford.
I had gone to big box stores in the past with really bad luck, and I saw the advertisements for Home Improvement Warehouse. I thought I would give them a try, and they were fantastic every step of the way. I saw the cabinets that I wanted, then I went to the design center, and they sketched out all the details and did diagrams, and so they supplied 75% of what I needed to redo the inside of the house. For all the things I got, the prices were incredible. I would highly recommend everybody to go to Home Improvement Warehouse.
This fall, whether you're hitting the trails or navigating the urban jungle, we've got you covered with the best brands in outdoor gear. From the unmatched comfort of Hoka and On to the legendary durability of Carhartt workwear, we've got your back. Stay cozy in socks from Smartwool and Darn Tough. Explore in the styles of Cool and Patagonia. And step out in the rugged Blundstone and Birkenstock footwear. Come see us today for the best gear you can find, and let's fuel your adventure right here at Mahoney's in Johnson City.
I had seen my primary doctors and I had complained about my leg pain. Something's different. Something's wrong. Dr. Milliken came very highly recommended. I had veins that had enlarged, which was causing my severe pain. Once the procedures were done, I felt 100% better, and I was able to sleep at night. I was able to get up out of my chair. I could even go shopping with my daughter.
Call 865-347-2960 or visit us at milliganvein.com.
Tommy's Plumbing has been in business for 30 years, and we're still growing because we treat our customers like family. We are proud to do any job from kitchen faucet installation to a complete home repipe. Tommy's Plumbing offers warranties on most products installed by our technicians. When the job is done, our friendly professionals make sure to clean up. We invite you to visit our new showroom in Jonesboro to see our quality products for yourself. Tommy's is the only one to call when you need a fast, reliable, professional plumber in the Tri-Cities.
New year, new styles, and new deals. Now at your local Ashley outlet. Furnish your whole home with rooms starting at just $5.99 and take advantage of 12-month special financing with no minimum purchase. For quality and comfort at a great value, visit your nearest Ashley outlet.
We honor their courage, their service, their dedication, and are forever grateful for their sacrifice. Thank you to our veterans for defending our nation and our freedom. If you know a deserving local veteran, you can nominate them now. Just head over to WJHL.com and click on Veterans Voices under the Community tab and fill out the form. Every Friday at 4 on News Channel 11 and 7:30 on ABC Tri-Cities, we're honoring local veterans by telling their stories. Veterans Voices is sponsored by these local businesses.
In the Commonwealth, the town of Abingdon has several iconic restaurants filled with delicious food. In fact, the town was named one of the 10 best small town food scenes by USA Today. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel gives us a taste of some of the iconic restaurants in the town of Abingdon.
Fresh coffee, all-day breakfast and lunch, and even an art gallery. The Girl and the Raven creates the perfect atmosphere to start your day.
We're a small batch roastery, so we roast our own coffee beans on site every day. We also are a scratch kitchen that probably sets us apart more than anything else.
From biscuits and gravy and specialty lattes to burgers and truffle fries, daily soup and grilled cheese specials. The menu is as diverse as Abingdon's food scene itself.
This is something that's been building for 30 years or more. And so it just continues to build. There's more and more interest, both from the locals and regionally, and even throughout the South now. We have to find out what's the next great thing in Abingdon in food.
About half a mile up Main Street and down on Pecan,
It's quirky, it's fun, it's casual, and it's good.
you'll find Jack's 128 Pecan serving lunch and dinner.
It's a quirky spot, It's just a fun little local spot. I am local, I am from Abingdon, so, it's just good to be here, and, this is all I've done in my life.
The American-style menu has several favorites, including the Caesar salad and tomato bisque, Cuban sandwich, and salmon and grits, just to name a few.
We're that type restaurant that, sometimes you want to go out to eat, but you don't want to have to buy the restaurant to do it.
And back on Main Street, you'll find Summer's Roof and Cellar.
It's fine dining, so it's a little bit more elevated, so taking things that you might have grown up eating at Grandmom's kitchen, but we're kind of taking a new spin on that and making it something a little more elevated.
It brings picturesque views up top and dining in a wine cellar on the bottom.
Wine is a big component to what we do. My brother and the manager of the restaurant, Charlie Berg, he's really a world-renowned sommelier. He's worked in some of the best restaurants in the world and has developed a really amazing wine program and wine selections.
In Abingdon, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
In the heart of downtown Bristol, there is a historic theater.
Yeah, the Paramount Performing Arts Center on State Street has been around for 90 years. Paramount Bristol is actually listed on the National Register of Historic Places. But did you know the theater almost closed? Here's a look at how the community fought to save the treasure.
This is what we call the heart of downtown Bristol.
The heart that started beating February 20th, 1931. Depression-weary Bristol needed an escape. So when Paramount Pictures opened an Art Deco movie palace on State Street, the line stretched all the way down State Street.
Not only was it special to see a movie in such a beautiful setting, but on a hot summer's day, you can come in and sit in air conditioning and watch that movie. And so I just think about what a special treat that must have been.
Over time, Bristol expanded away from downtown. 1979, the final movie played on the Paramount's big screen. The theater went dark and descended into disrepair. By the mid-'80s, the heart of Bristol was on life support.
Now the ceiling and everything had fallen to the ground. The seats were all dirty and moldy.
Mary Beth Raniero was on that pioneering team that acquired the building and faced a massive challenge.
Well, here we have this big 747 now. How are we going to pay for the fuel to make it fly?
The answer, a decade-long fundraising and restoration campaign that restarted Bristol's heart.
She, along with a group of very dedicated community folks, helped save this building.
Since its reopening in 1991, Paramount Bristol has hosted regional, national, and international performers. Some think the Paramount's rebirth triggered a revival in appreciation for Bristol's place as the birthplace of country music and a downtown revitalization that spread around the region.
I really think that rehabilitation of the downtowns and old buildings, it started then. It was the catalyst that really began that movement.
More than 90 years after that first opening night, the Paramount's heart continues to beat out a rhythm, leading a celebration of arts for everyone in the region.
Paramount Bristol is so special, not only to downtown Bristol, but I think to the Tri-Cities as a whole.
Coming up, motorcyclists from across the nation head to Mountain City for what some call a treacherous adventure down U.S. Highway 421. We're going to tell you about the ride known as the Snake. It's after the break. Stay with us.
Questions about healthcare but don't know where to start? With Health Corner right at your fingertips, WJHL.com connects you to meaningful information on health services that can make your life easier and better. WJHL has partnered with health professionals in our community to bring you useful tips and information to answer your health questions. Go to WJHL.com, click the Community tab, then Health Corner, and connect with these healthcare professionals.
Here at Factory Direct Furniture, our huge showroom is packed and ready for you. Everything store-wide is half price. You heard me right. All sofas, bedrooms, dining rooms, and accessories are now half price. Seeing is believing, and we will make a believer out of you. We've never had a larger selection than we do right now, and our prices have never been lower. So come on down and check out Factory Direct Furniture's half price sale. And don't forget, tell them Kara sent ya.
When the power is out, call Mr. Electric. Mr. Electric certified technicians will respond quickly to your emergency, evaluate the problem, and get you out of the dark. But why wait? Take care of your electrical problems before they become an emergency. With our electrical expertise, your home is in good hands. Call for an appointment today. Mr. Electric, we have the power to make things better.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota equipment. Part of the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S., they offer the versatility and reliability to get the job done right all year round. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800.
Kubota of Kingsport, the best place for the best equipment.
Life can be a lot sometimes, but at Holston Medical Group, our primary care providers are here through it all, whether it be a routine checkup or something unexpected. Because at HMG, we're here for you through every stage of life with the best primary care and support. Whether it's you or the people you love most, choose a primary care provider you can rely on. Choose HMG, your health partner for life. Now accepting new patients.
It's the great people of the Tri-Cities that make a difference for the better in our community. From first responders to medical professionals to local volunteers. Tune in every Wednesday at 7 on News Channel 11 and 7:30 on ABC Tri-Cities as we honor those heroes and showcase their stories. If you know a deserving community hero, nominate them now on WJHL.com. Just click on Community Heroes under the Community tab.
Nominate a community hero today.
People from across the nation travel to our region for a thrilling ride in Mountain City. It's called the Snake. Johnson County, known by motorcyclists across the country for the treacherous stretch of U.S. Highway 421, 33 miles of adventure, spans across 3 mountains, a valley, and over 400 curves. News Channel 11's John Jenko takes us for a ride.
Whether you're on 2 wheels or 4, there's something about the Snake that keeps people coming back.
Since 1995, I've been riding up here every summer.
Motorcycle enthusiasts flock to this 33-mile stretch of road. And they'll all tell you it's a thrill.
It's the reputation. You know, it's a Snake. It's 400 and some curves. The scenery is beautiful, and it's enjoyed by everyone.
If you ride the Snake, it's practically a requirement to make a stop at the Shady Valley Country Store. It was here that the Snake was born. Owner and Shady Valley native Christopher Mahela says at first the shop served a different kind of motor.
It was here since, I think, 1948, and at first it was a Ford Tractor Supply.
The shop changed ownership several times over the years, becoming a country store vital for day-to-day needs of Shady Valley residents. Carol Long was the owner in the early 2000s when a Food City opened in nearby Damascus, Virginia, and the business needed to evolve to survive.
Half of our business went down the creek. We had to re-engineer, had to do something.
That led Long to rebrand as a biker destination, knowing the roads around the store would present an enticing challenge for riders. All he needed was a name to market it, and the rest would be history.
My dad always said that these roads around here were meaner than a striped snake, so I called it the Striped Snake.
Mahela bought the store in 2020 with the Snake now an international biker attraction.
We had a guy from Dubai come last year, and he stayed for a week en route. But we've got South Africa, Australia, Quebec.
While some come for that challenge, many of the local riders keep coming back as a stress reliever.
It's like recharging your batteries. You know, you work through the week, and then you get out, and when your ride's over,
but longtime Snake riders come for the community just as much as the ride.
This whole area is just really fantastic. Good people, and it makes it nice when you run into good people on the side of the road and just talk and come up with a conversation.
In Shady Valley, John Jenko, News Channel 11.
Coming up, Bays Mountain Planetarium is a big part of the model city. We'll take a look at some of the different types of animals that call the park home. That's up next. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, Governor Bill Lee here. I'd like to wish all of our friends at WJHL a happy 70th anniversary. On behalf of all Tennesseans, I want to thank you and recognize your work to keep Tennesseans safe and informed. You have greatly contributed to Tennessee history.
Don't be jealous. Your concrete can look this good too. Call Team Red Coatings for a free estimate and coating options.
My name is Matt McClung. I'm the 2023 NBA Slam Dunk Champion, and I'm a patient of Dr. Riggins and Associated Orthopedics. I would highly recommend he and all the physicians at Associated Orthopedics for all of your orthopedic needs. Whether it is a new injury or a lingering problem, they have you covered to get you back in the game. Associated Orthopedics of Kingsport. It's a slam dunk.
Come on, man, it's a really nice mattress.
Stop. Oh my gosh, it's the ghost of future sleepless nights.
Come with me. This can be your fate if you don't buy your mattress from Sleep Solutions.
I can change spirit. Please take me back to Sleep Solutions. I'll take 5.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Sleep Solutions Mattress Gallery, your solution to a great night's sleep.
Williams Electric is an all-electric, all-lighting supply store, but we're also open to the public. Whatever your electrical needs, we can help. We have on-site experts available to help answer any questions. For 60 years, customer service has been our priority. With the largest lighting showroom available in our region, you'll see everything from interior, exterior, and security lighting. If it lights up the night, we have it on display. Visit us today and we'll brighten up your nights. Williams Electric Supply.
The Greenhouse is your holiday decor and gift destination. Since 2018, we've been your go-to spot for creating stunning indoor and outdoor spaces. But this season, we're all about holiday magic. Our curated shop is filled with enchanting houseplants, one-of-a-kind gifts, and delightful home goods that make for the perfect presents. Need a little extra festive flair for your home? We've got you covered. Come experience The Greenhouse, just a short drive away in downtown Greenville, and make the holiday season truly magical.
News Channel 11 is first to bring you the day's breaking news. Breaking news for you on First at 4 today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ansley Daniel. First to let you know what's happening in our community. Let's go ahead and take a live look downtown this afternoon.
First to alert you to severe weather so you can be prepared. Storm Team Live Viper 11 watching that severe storm. That risk of severe weather will slide eastward tonight. Could affect the Tri-Cities as well.
Your news
and weather
first.
Weekdays at 4 p.m. on News Channel 11. The team you can trust.
Don't be jealous. Your concrete can look this good too. Call Team Red Coatings for a free estimate and coating options.
In the Model City, Bays Mountain Park and Planetarium has something really to offer everyone.
They sure do. The park's been around since 1970s and is home to many different species of animals. I spoke with a park ranger to find out more about all of the animals you can find when you visit Bays Mountain. Dozens of animal species call the Bays Mountain Park home, giving those young and old a first-hand look at how they live in their natural habitat.
We have several native animals, animals that are from this area on exhibit here, like the bobcats that we're looking at right now, the white-tailed deer. We also have gray wolves, we have raptors, we have a herpetarium here which houses our reptiles and amphibians.
The two bobcat brothers, Carter and Cash, are the newest members of the park. Compare that with the red-tailed hawk, the oldest resident, who's called Bays Mountain Park home for 23 of his 24 years.
It is a zoo setting, but we exhibit animals that are from this area instead of animals that are from overseas.
Bob Kohler has spent 30 years as a ranger at Bays Mountain Park. He's watched the park and opportunities grow over those 3 decades.
When I started in 1990, one of the big things that's changed over the years is the number of visitors that we have. When I started here, we're getting around 120,000 people a year, if I recall correctly, and we've more than doubled that over the years.
More people means more things to see and do, like Lily Pad Pavilion, which opened in 2018. More upgrades are on the way.
We are planning on adding a new state-of-the-art otter habitat. I think many people have experienced our old otter habitat that has been here for many years, and it served us well for many years, but it's time for something new.
Through the additions and changes, one constant has remained: education of the world around us.
We have school children that come up here, and we do educational programs on various animals that we have here, and also various nature-related concepts like ecology.
Ensuring the popularity of Bays Mountain Park for generations to come.
The support of the visiting public has really helped us to maintain what we have, but also to increase the opportunities that we have for educating.
Casey Marler, News Channel 11, ABC Tri-Cities.
Coming up in our next half hour of celebrating the Tri-Cities for 70 years, we head to Bristol, Virginia, where a recording studio called Ernest Tube uses a unique and old-fashioned way of recording. We'll take a behind-the-scenes look at the process. And a popular food stand has a special place in the hearts of many community members in Marion, Virginia. We'll tell you about the item that makes the stand so unique next.
At Jiffy Lube, it's our job to keep you moving. With a full range of services from oil changes and tire rotations to filters, wipers, and more, we've got what your car needs right when you need it, so you're ready for whatever's next. Putting you in the driver's seat of car care, that's a job for Jiffy.
Hi, this is Lori from Do Good Goods, and we'd like to welcome you to our store where you will find a great shopping experience. We have a wide variety of merchandise and a friendly staff focused on great customer service. Please take time during your busy holidays to stop by and check out the wonderful buys that you will find here. We look forward to seeing you.
Do Good Goods is so much more than a consignment store. It's like family. They really care about their customers.
Deck your driveway with a new car from Carville. You'll be happy that you bought one with a low price guarantee. They all come with peace of mind, tires and engines for life included. Here's our announcer with an offer that we really hope that you will like.
Enjoy the holidays with no payments till spring 2024.
Only at Carville.
Let's face it, bedtime is rough, and we'll go to extremes to fall asleep. Late night baths, even hanging upside down. But at Ashley, we've got a trick that works every time. A new Tempur-Pedic. It adapts to your body's needs to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Ashley sleep experts will help you wake up feeling refreshed every day. So ditch the eye masks. Head to Ashley to find your perfect Tempur-Pedic, and you'll be sleeping like a log every night.
Living Water Vein Institute and Medical Spa in Johnson City, your region's center of excellence for varicose and spider vein treatment, is proud to open our newest center in Southwest Virginia in Abingdon.
Dr. Berry is the only triple certified vein specialist in the region, treating veins in the feet, legs, hands, and face, offering both invasive and non-invasive treatments. We can help where others have failed.
At Living Water Vein Institute and Medical Spa, whether your need is medical or cosmetic, we will help you look and feel your best. Now in both Johnson City and Abingdon.
From Johnson City
to Kingsport. Plus, stay up to date from wherever you are on the latest severe weather alerts from the Storm Team 11 Weather app.
Alerting you first to severe weather so you and your family can be prepared and stay safe.
Storm Team 11, the team you can trust.
At Jiffy Lube, it's our job to keep you moving. With a full range of services from oil changes and tire rotations to filters, wipers, and more, we've got what your car needs right when you need it, so you're ready for whatever's next. Putting you in the driver's seat of car care, that's a job for Jiffy.
Celebrating the Tri-Cities for 70 years.
Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us as we continue celebrating the Tri-Cities for 70 years. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Casey Marler. Throughout the year, we've taken our newscast on the road to each part of our region to celebrate 70 years of News Channel 11.
And we've highlighted some of the places and faces that make the Tri-Cities such a special place to live. As the year comes to an end and we wrap up our 70th celebration, we're taking another look at all of the memorable stories we've shared from across our region.
The town of Marion, there's an iconic spot just west of downtown. Serves shakes, burgers, onion rings.
And something else. It's not the only menu item that brings people to this popular spot. Dip dogs are all the rage in Marion. News Channel 11's Kelly Grossfield gives us a look at what makes the dip dogs stand out and the dish unique.
Since 1957, this spot has been serving up something you may or may not have heard of. It's called a dip dog.
A dip dog is what a corn dog would like to be. That's what we like to say. It's totally different. It's not a corn dog. It's just it's our own batter, our own recipe, and this whole part of the country has just grew up eating them and still do.
In 1966, Grant Hall's family took over the dip dog stand here on Highway 11, something he never expected he'd spend his life doing.
My father was a carpenter and a brick mason. You know, I never thought that I figured I'd be doing that too, but I didn't think that I'd ever be running a restaurant.
From regulars,
it's a very good place to come to. It's a good ride.
To first timers.
I had no idea what a dip dog was, but he said it was great, so we came.
Everyone leaves with a smile on their face after trying this treat. Grant Hall tells us they sell anywhere from 500 to 800 a day.
We don't want them to think you're just coming here to get something to eat. We want something special, and you take home a memory.
It's clear they're popular locally, but they've also gone global. Photos fill the wall of the dining area showing how far Dip Dog fans have traveled, only to return for one of their favorite meals. It's the only Dip Dog stand ever, and it's all family run.
All my kids grew up here. My brothers and sisters grew up here. This is all our first jobs. My wife, she worked here before we was married, so that was fun.
The Halls say the people are what makes it all worthwhile.
You got to put the attitude and you got to put the care and the love in it. If you don't let people see some compassion and stuff in what you do, then to me, it's not worth doing it.
For over 6 decades, people have enjoyed Dip Dogs here in Marion, and the Halls hope they can be enjoyed for decades to come.
It'll stay until the Lord tells us it's time to go.
In Marion, I'm Kelly Grossfield.
Kelly, thank you very much. That Dip Dog stand open Thursday through Sunday from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. and is located on Highway 11.
Bristol, Virginia is home to a unique recording studio inspired by the 1927 Bristol Sessions. The studio specializes in direct-to-disc recording. The Ernest Tube is located on Lee Street. News Channel 11's John Janko gives us a behind-the-scene look at the studio's recording process.
You won't find many places that still record music this way. The Ernest Tube is about as close as it gets to the start of Bristol's almost century-long musical heritage.
We call it, like I said, the essence of the 27 Sessions with modern insight.
Studio engineer Clint Hawley and his partner Dave Polster specialize in direct-to-disc recording on lacquer. It's a tribute to the way music was recorded before the age of tape and digital recorders.
We're talking about a technology that's over 100 years old right now, and that was the dominant form of recording until about 1950.
Folk blues singer KT Van Dyke is a regular in the studio, playing a mix of original music and the classics.
She called me up down in El Paso.
He says the reverence to the old ways of recording at the Ernest Tube is what keeps him coming back.
It's a living connection, I feel like. It makes you want to keep these songs around as long as possible.
The recording process on lacquer is about as bare bones as it gets.
It's just a moment in time captured with nothing else added to it.
Just 1 or 2 microphones go into the mixer, which puts out a single mono channel.
That goes through an amplifier, and much like a speaker, the amplifier drives what's called a cutting head that has a cutting stylus on it. And then somebody like KT gets in front of the microphone and sings, and we literally carve the music into the disc.
Now I'm walking on Nashville. She's thinking about Texas.
While all that happens, Holly is busy brushing away the excess to prevent sound interference. It produces an old-school sound that has brought some big names to the studio.
Amethyst Kia, she did a live stream and a recording here. The band 49 Winchester used to use this as a practice space when they were just starting to blow up.
Give me back my old boat, well, I'm gonna sail if she floats.
For aspiring musicians like Van Dyke, the studio plays an important role in sustaining the local music scene.
With Ernest Tube, they're wonderful recording opportunities. They got a great vibe and they're incredibly professional and they know what they're doing.
In Bristol, Virginia, John Jenko, News Channel 11.
Coming up, Johnson City has a lot to offer, but when it comes to craft breweries, the city is thriving. We'll tell you how the city's brewery scene began right after the break.
Hello, this is Governor Glenn Youngkin from the great Commonwealth of Virginia. I'd like to wish all of our friends at WJHL happy 70th anniversary.
Before the temperatures drop, make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep you comfortable this winter. Climate Controllers is offering fast and affordable HVAC winter tune-ups to increase efficiency and decrease mechanical stress. Get yours scheduled today. Climate Controllers, serving the Tri-Cities for 24 years.
It's not every day your daughter joins your dental practice, but it sure is extra special. Dr. Erica Lovett grew up watching her mother create beautiful smiles. And now she's on her own path to dental excellence right alongside her. A mother and daughter dental team committed to beautiful smiles is a beautiful thing. Dr. Lovett is now accepting general dentistry patients.
I'm Dr. Erica Lovett, and I'd love to be your new dentist.
Been good this year? Well, put a new Honda Pilot on your list.
Johnson City Honda has them for only $369 a month. And the Honda CR-V is only $249 a month. And you always get car washes for life and a warranty for life. That's the Johnson City way. Happy Honda Days from Johnson City Honda.
That's the Johnson City way. Johnson City Honda, Johnson City.
Christmas, a time of wonder and joy.
A time to celebrate the birth of a baby boy.
May the grace of Christ bring you hope and joy.
May the peace of Christ be yours.
May you thank the Lord for the hope that he brings.
May you know the love of Jesus Christ, the King.
May you feel the love of family and friends.
Merry Christmas from the Window Source.
Shop where America shops for windows, siding, and doors. The Window Source of the Tri-Cities.
I remember as a kid, my papa reading The Night Before Christmas to me every Christmas. I always loved the line where everyone was nestled all snug in their bed. It always felt so cozy to me. This holiday season, we want to help you have visions of sugar plums dancing in your head as you sleep better on a new mattress. We're proud to unveil our new Sealy Hybrid and Sealy Foam mattresses. Also, we want to give you 15% off our exclusive Sherwood mattresses. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night's sleep.
Sleep Solutions Mattress Gallery, your solution to a great night's sleep.
We honor their courage, their service, their dedication, and are forever grateful for their sacrifice. Thank you to our veterans for defending our nation and our freedom. If you know a deserving local veteran, you can nominate them now. Just head over to WJHL.com and click on Veterans Voices under the Community tab and fill out the form. Every Friday at 4 on News Channel 11 and 7:30 on ABC Tri-Cities, we're honoring local veterans by telling their stories. Veterans Voices is sponsored by these local businesses.
Climate Controllers in Elizabethton is now hiring HVAC service and installers. We offer competitive pay, paid holidays and vacation, and 401k benefits. Call today to schedule an interview. Climate Controllers, serving the Tri-Cities for 24 years.
There's always something fun to do in Johnson City. Craft breweries are at the center of nightlife.
Yeah, those breweries serve as not only a fun spot for community members, but they also help the businesses in downtown. Here's a look at how the thriving brewery scene in Johnson City began.
In craft brewing, as you may know, it's all about community, it's all about creativity.
Eric Latham would know. He started the very first craft brewery in Johnson City in 2014.
October 25th, 2014, we opened up. We sold a lot of beer in that little place back in the King Building on Main Street. We saw over 600 people come through that day, and we said, maybe we've got something here.
The magic happens at an off-site production facility in Johnson City. On average, 42 gallons of craft beer can be made per day. That's over 15,000 gallons or 500 barrels per year.
If you said to me, you had to make the same 4 beers over and over, I probably wouldn't do this business anymore. So we like to create different things. As you can see, this one in particular has several buildings, including the one that our downtown tap room is in.
More beers and more breweries. 7 different breweries call Johnson City home. Little Animals, Great Oak, Yeehaw, Atlantic Ale House, Watauga Brewing, and Tennessee Hills Brewstillery.
There is such a craze for craft beer, and people have such a love and passion for it that they will go to one brewery and maybe try a beer, get an appetizer, get something to eat, and then walk on to another brewery and do the same thing.
Craft beer means a sense of community in downtown where you can come linger on the street, where you can talk to your favorite bartender, and then you can really have a sense of community.
That camaraderie and growth all comes together at the Thirsty Orange Beer Festival, which brings brewers and hundreds of visitors to downtown Johnson City every year.
It's just another avenue for people to get together, and then a rare opportunity for all the breweries to get together and see each other.
And that's exactly what the industry brings to Johnson City. Another way to bring everyone together and celebrate what makes this area and the people so unique.
It's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to have a business, and we're really excited about the future of downtown Johnson City.
Coming up, we head to the town of Greenville. There, a piece of the Civil War remains frozen in the walls of a local church. We'll tell you the story behind Greenville's Great Cannonball Mystery up next.
Aqua Living has finally made owning a hot tub affordable, selling directly to the consumer, saving you thousands. We are the manufacturer. With our in-house financing, we offer 100% approvals, with payments as low as $59 a month. Shop now at shophottubs.com.
Sit back and relax in the comfort of your home. Amana. America's brand.
Call John Leggs Heating and Air today for all your heating and cooling needs.
The Highway Self-Storage family is the area's premier self-storage facility with climate-controlled storage at Highway 381 and Highway 11W. Elevators, 24-hour surveillance, unloading zones at Highway 11W, and loading docks at Highway 381. Visit our newest location on Highway 394 in Blountville. Get 1 month free at a free car wash. Call us today. Locations include Hamilton Place in Johnson City and Jack White Drive in Kingsport, plus mini storage locations at Highway 126 in Bristol, Allensville Square Center at Sevierville, and Highway 394 in Blountville. We're the best solution for your storage needs.
The Stock Pot will help you make holiday cooking simple and easy. We have everything you need to feed your family or large group. We have top quality dishes ready to cook, from entrees and sides to desserts. Silverware, stemware, condiments, select Asian, deli meats, and cheese. We'll save you time and money, and you can take all the credit. Spend less time in the kitchen and more with your family with help from the Stock Pot in Johnson City. Now offering portable cooler rentals.
When the power is out, call Mr. Electric. Mr. Electric certified technicians will respond quickly to your emergency, evaluate the problem, and get you out of the dark. But why wait? Take care of your electrical problems before they become an emergency. With our electrical expertise, your home is in good hands. Call for an appointment today. Mr. Electric, we have the power to make things better.
It's the great people of the Tri-Cities that make a difference for the better in our community. From first responders to medical professionals to local volunteers. Tune in every Wednesday at 7 on News Channel 11 and 7:30 on ABC Tri-Cities as we honor those heroes and showcase their stories. If you know a deserving community hero, nominate them now on WJHL.com. Just click on Community Heroes under the Community tab.
Nominate a community hero today.
America's #1 hot tub manufacturer states this fact: made in the USA. All our hot tubs are built right here. Selling hot tubs directly to you saves you thousands while keeping jobs here in the USA. Shop us now at shophottubs.com.
A lot of history can be seen in the town of Greenville. One church in the area has a piece of the Civil War frozen in its walls. If you look above the entrance at the Cumberland Presbyterian Church on Main Street, you'll see a cannonball. But the way the cannonball got there remains unanswered. News Channel 11's John Janko tells us the history behind the mysterious cannonball.
If you walk by Greenville's Cumberland Presbyterian Church, look up, not at the towering steeple, but at a peculiar gap in the brick.
As a kid driving by, my daddy would say, "Now there's the cannonball."
Wilhelmina Williams and her husband Beverly tell Greenville's history on walking tours downtown. The story goes the Cumberland Presbyterian Church fell victim to crossfire during Greenville's most significant Civil War moment.
The only activity that caused any physical structure damage was the day that Morgan was killed up here a block away.
The Confederates fired their cannons as their General John Hunt Morgan was being tracked down by Union soldiers.
But it missed and hit the church,
which demolished the building.
The congregation rebuilt the church, and at some point, a cannonball appeared on the facade. It's been there as long as Beverly, part of the church since 1960, can remember. But it didn't stop some from believing that was the original.
People think, oh, that cannonball landed there very nicely in that space. No, it didn't.
Beverly says the true story of the cannonball mystery became apparent about 10 years ago. He says an undertaker at a neighboring funeral home told the church the story.
He noticed a man down here at the church on a ladder digging away at the brick.
Beverly says the cannonball appeared sometime in the 1950s, a decision made by church leadership to commemorate the church's history. The cannonball the man put up is not believed to be the one that destroyed the original church, but Wilhelmina says it is an authentic Civil War cannonball from the Andrew Johnson National Cemetery.
The superintendent said, well, I can't give you one, I can't sell you one, but if one's missing, then I can't do anything about it.
Now known as the Cannonball Church, the tall tale and the real story behind it have become part of the church's identity.
160-some years ago, during the Civil War, this church was here, and now, these years later, it's still here.
In Greenville, John Jenko, News Channel 11.
Just amazing history in our region. That was News Channel 11's John Jenko reporting. We'll be right back as we continue to show off what makes the Tri-Cities such a special place.
Have questions about probate or inheritance laws? When must an estate be probated? For a free probate consultation, call 276-250-3611. Serving Tennessee and Virginia with offices in Kingsport and Rogersville, Jim Williams and Associates Attorneys at Law.
KBM Commercial Properties is the premier resource for all of your commercial real estate needs. Our current developments in Bristol include the Falls Retail Center, Shops on the Parkway, and Meadowview Commercial Park 3. Some of our featured tenants include Bristol Children's Clinic, Java Juice House, Henson Insurance Agency, and Dunkin'. KBM Commercial Properties has prime retail, restaurant, office, and medical space available throughout these locations in Bristol. Contact us today for more info.
Hometown Plumbing is the premier plumbing service provider in the Tri-Cities. From the moment we receive your call,
good morning. Thank you for calling Hometown Plumbing. This is Megan. How can I help you?
we begin working to serve you. From start to finish, you can trust our experienced technicians to find and diagnose the problem, provide a solution, and fix it in a timely, affordable manner. We also handle installations with water heaters. We give an upfront price before every job and take pride in our work. Hometown Plumbing is your neighborhood plumber to call for friendly and professional plumbing services.
Hi, I'm Alan with WeShipFloors.com. We used to sell all the other flooring brands, and I knew we could make a better product. So now we manufacture our own Supercore flooring. Supercore is by far the best waterproof flooring you can buy, and because it's our product and we make it, we can offer you a far superior floor at prices much cheaper than the inferior competition. Stop in to see us at our Johnson City store or our new showroom on the Parkway in Sevierville. Or just get on our website, WeShipFloors.com to order. WeShipFloors.com, better products at better prices.
Let Pizza Plus make your Christmas merry and bright. Get a medium pepperoni pizza and a regular order of pizza sticks with cheese for only $13.50. That's a medium pepperoni pizza and sticks with cheese for just $13.50 at Pizza Plus. Don't forget, Pizza Plus gift certificates make great stocking stuffers. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from
Pizza Plus.
Like them on Facebook, and for more information, go to pizzaplusinc.com.
News Channel 11 is first to bring you the day's breaking news. Breaking news for you on First at 4 today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ansley Daniel. First to let you know what's happening in our community. Let's go ahead and take a live look downtown this afternoon.
First to alert you to severe weather so you can be prepared. Storm Team Live Viper 11 watching that severe storm. That risk of severe weather will slide eastward tonight. Could affect the Tri-Cities as well.
Your news
and weather
first.
Weekdays at 4 p.m. on News Channel 11. The team you can trust.
Buying or selling a house or land? Need a title search, deed, or sale documents prepared? For a free real estate consultation, call 423-389-4688. Serving Tennessee and Virginia with offices in Kingsport and Rogersville. Jim Williams and Associates Attorneys at Law.
We have had such a good time, and we hope you had a good time, too, learning about all that our area has to offer as far as history and showcase what makes the Tri-Cities so special.
Oh, it's been a blast. From outdoor activities to specialty foods, our region truly offers something for everyone. It has been so much fun celebrating our station's 70th anniversary on the road with all of you.
And thanks for joining us as we celebrate 70 years in the Tri-Cities of WJHL.